What's up, everybody? Welcome into the show. I am Terry Seaton, your host, and this is On His Guard Podcast, Episode 3, Rooted. We're going to get into some conversations and some deep thought process in what you're rooted in. So let me give you a little bit of an analogy to start off with. So look at everything like this. Your brain is like a giant garden, like infinity. Supercomputer, as many people say in this world. Your brain has to be cultivated, watered, tended to, pruned, fixed, and your roots all count on how that is. So basically, from the day you were born, the day you were conceived, up until this very, very moment, you're growing roots. The question I'm asking you is, where are your roots growing? What are you growing your roots in? Who are growing their roots in you? What are you growing your roots into? Who are you growing your roots into? Because everything you do in your life, or like I said, from the time you were conceived until this very single moment in time, dictates your life. And you can fix that by leading yourself in a way that these roots that you're either growing or that are being grown in you are cultivated the correct way. Now, I say that in a way that obviously it's easier said than done. Okay? But you got to start asking yourself the hard questions. How many things have you done in your life, or how many things do you continuously do in your life where these roots continuously grow in your life and they get deeper and deeper, and then it's harder to cultivate them. It's harder to get rid of them. It's harder to walk away from them. It's harder to cut them. Now, if you're a believer, I'm going to tell you that you should reach out to God, that you should have a conversation with God all the time, because he is the true gardener of your life. Sorry, everyone. I'm a little congested today, and I have a severe pain in my right side. I suffer from diverticulitis, and I have a pretty good flare-up right now. But this topic was really heavy on my heart and something I've been praying about lately, so I just wanted to jump in and record this show and do it. So with that being said, let's move forward. You know, when I say your roots can be cultivated by God, what I'm saying is God is the ultimate gardener, right? And Jesus is the ultimate vine. I mean, we can go to John 15:5, and this is red letter right from the Bible. And Jesus says, "Yes, I am the vine, you are the branches. Those who remain in me and I in them will produce much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing." Jesus is basically saying you need to have a relationship with him. You need to be able to speak to him so you are growing from him, and God is cultivating you, pruning you throughout your process in life. Now, in general, you should do this anyway. You should be, when I say your roots in other people, what are your investments in other people? What are you bringing to their life? What are you doing for them? How are you doing things for them? Are you being angry? Are you being resentful? Are you being jealous? Are you allowing that stuff to affect you? Are you allowing yourself to fall in those little cracks and crevices of life that continuously beat you down, continuously get you upset, continuously turn you upside down in your life, and you're wondering why? It really comes back to what your roots are. What are you rooted in? What information are you reading? What information are you watching? Who do you have in your life? That's such a huge thing that so many people don't want to understand, and they don't want to accept it. You are an individual who will emulate anything that you see or anything that you hear, anything that you do, by the way that we were created. It's in general. We were given free will to do whatever we wanted, whenever we wanted, however we wanted to do it. And you have the ability to be blessed and work through this life and build those things in a way to where the world's not such a bad place. It's not so hard. It's a little easier to navigate when you start living in this other space, I'll say. When you start cultivating your roots and what you're rooted in. It's interesting because when I speak to other people about things like this, they always ask, how do you know what you should be rooted in and what you shouldn't be rooted in? And I always feel that it's a heart decision. It's something that you're always going to have to work through. You're always going to have to, it's easy for me to sit here and say this because I use my life as a beacon of conversation with God regularly. I'm usually praying in the car, or if I'm silent, if you see me silent, a lot of times I'm talking to God. I may be talking to God in my head. I know I'm an odd person, but it's something that I've done throughout my entire life, since a young age. And so when people ask this kind of question to me, like, how do you know? You'll know because there's no push. You'll feel no resentment against the decision that you're making. I truly want to tell you that you need to pray on it. You need to think about it. I've reached out to multiple people to come on the show, for instance. And when I asked them to come on the show, I asked them not to make a decision at that time. I'm asking them to make a decision after they pray about it, after they think about it for a while. Do you really have the heart to share your story, or to come on and coach people, or to speak about things that might be able to lead people to a better day-to-day life? And so that's what I've done with my roots, that I'm trying to root into other people. I'm trying to pass those roots on. I want those roots to grow. And honestly, that's why I tell people, they say, why do you speak this way? Or how do you know? Like I said, I speak the way that I do to people because I want them to walk away feeling validated. I want them to walk away feeling that they mean something, that they are important, and that people want to invest in them for the right reasons. And when you're rooted in people, this is something you should always do. You should always want to be giving back, and not wanting anything in return. I don't need anything in return. It doesn't satisfy a need in my life. I want to invest in people with coaching, and that's being rooted in a cause, being rooted in conversation. Think about a conversation that you might have with somebody, or something that you've done or that you watched. Can you take away attributes from that conversation, or from the things that you've watched, read, seen, whatever have you, social media? Are you taking away the good information, or are you allowing things that are negative to be rooted in you to cause effects for you later on down the road, or to bring up something angrily? Like I said in my very first episode, I won't talk about politics. I would say politics on social media is a nightmare for anyone who believes in whatever they believe in. If you're a party person from one side to the other, social media has got to be the worst for those people that really do that because of the slang and throwing of stuff that's out there. So I would say you need to stop being rooted into that kind of stuff. If you want to be rooted in that kind of stuff in your own personal life, great. But if you're projecting those kind of things onto others, what are your roots growing? And go back to biblical things. And, the disciples were rooted in Jesus, not because they wanted to be, but because he called them to be. They were people of chaos and completely far from God. And honestly, the entire time they walked with God, a lot of them didn't believe at times, and they didn't really understand what was going on. That's hard because Jesus was a man, come on, let's be honest. He was a man that walked around in, sandals and a plain garment, and said, "Hey, why don't you come follow me? Come listen to me, listen to me preach, listen to me, tell these words." And, so the disciples are always super interesting to me personally, from a biblical standpoint, a believing standpoint, and in life. I think every disciple can be relatable to every human in some aspect. And if you watch and see or read any depiction of a disciple or read any stories of disciples, they're rooted in so many different things, and they see so many different things, and they begin to grow even more with God as they're traveling with Jesus, because of what they're seeing, because of what they're being told, and what they're actually physically watching. And it's amazing. I mean, to watch miracles firsthand, and there's still doubts. They still had doubts, and they still, but their doubt and insecurity is still an opportunity to believe that Jesus is, and forever will be the Son of God. And I always find it interesting when I start talking about being rooted, because it always comes back to the disciples for me, and how you can be rooted into things in your life. And I encourage you to take it in consideration to be rooted in people, be rooted in their growth, be rooted in their expectations, be rooted in their heart, be rooted in their ability to want to do things, and how to do things. Like I said, your mind is it's a super garden, like I said earlier in the show. And if you don't water it, things are going to die. If you're not cultivating it, things are going to die. If you're letting it run rampant, it's going to be choked out by the things you don't want there. And I think it's vital. You will definitely come to a point in your life where you will be doing things, and you are allowing things to attack you from our good friend, the enemy. And it will choke out things that are within you. And now some roots do need to be choked out. Let's say you've been rooted in something for so long, and it's taken over your life, and it's something that has not helped you and that's hindering you. You need to choke those out. It's going to take time. You're going to have to be strong-willed, have good people around you, pray, have people praying for you, be with you, surround yourself with good things, instantly stop feeding those roots so they can die off. Give you an example. Say you're addicted to something. I'm not going to say, drugs or alcohol or stuff, because I will say that. Actually, I will. I'm going to be honest with you, because I've seen it. I've lived through it firsthand. And I think you can do it, but it's going to take time. But you have to be willing to push and shove, and you have to be willing to fight for it, and you have to be willing to make sacrifices to cut away the weeds that are trying to continuously feed those roots that are within you. You got to find a way to do it. You got to circle yourself with good people. You got to stay off certain situations. You got to stay away from certain situations and completely cut off. And some people aren't going to be happy about that. Some people are going to be angry about that. People in your life might be angry about it. But I will tell you, cutting off something is more fortunate for your life in the long term than it is to keep allowing that small little bit to keep creeping in, whether there's belief that it changed, that they changed, or it changed, or whatever have you. So I will say that. I will, I grew up seeing addiction. I grew up watching addiction. So it's hard. It's very hard as a young person to see this, and to see what was rooted. I can sit here and say today that those that I've seen in addiction have become great people because they were able to eventually kill off those roots that were growing in them from things that had no bearing on their life, and they should never have a bearing on their life. And that's a good thing. And I believe all of you out there can do the same. I believe everyone out there that's listening right now, you can overcome any single thing in this world depending on if you're willing to make sacrifices. You have to make sacrifices. If you want to be rooted in the right things, you got to make sacrifices. You got to not read things that are inappropriate. Stop yourself from speaking inappropriately. And I could be questioned and say, well, what's inappropriate? Your heart's going to tell you what's inappropriate. I will tell you that every single time. Your heart. People can come and say, well, I don't believe in this and I don't believe in that. Then you need to search your heart. It's not up for me to tell you what you believe in and what you don't believe in. I can tell you what I believe in, what I've seen, what I felt, how I've grown my roots within myself, and how I project or try to grow my roots in others, the way I speak to people, the way I do this podcast, how you speak to me now, or how I speak to you now, because there's no one speaking to me. How I speak to you right now on this show is very straightforward. It's very organic. This is stuff that's just in my head. This is the way that I think. This is the way that I talk. This is how I talk to people. I do goof around, yes, and I have fun. I'm not always, a serious Susie or whatever Garbage Pail Kid would be for those who are in the 80s. Yes, those were funny cards. They're still funny today. See, I still get humor in that. You can have some roots into that comedy. It's okay. But really what I want to say today, and what I'm talking about is just assess yourself, assess what you're doing. Your roots come from something, whether it's from the past generation, past people that are in your lives. We could say that racism isn't going away because the roots of that continuously are passed through one generation to the next, and they're allowed to be grown in those generations by the people, by what they're hearing, by what they're seeing, by what they're around. So those roots begin to grow, and then they get stronger and intertwine within the mind. So then it's harder. It's harder to cultivate those roots out. And it's sad. It's very sad that we live in this society where when you read into, New Testament, I'll say, because Old Testament is hard. Old Testament, if I'm speaking on biblical terms here, Old Testament's really hard, but the New Testament, it's a lot different. The covenant's different because of Jesus. And you watch Jesus and just his love and how he cared for people and how he spoke to people. And, his parables are quite amazing, to be honest, when you start digging into them and you start dissecting them or trying to understand them even more. But as a society, we've allowed rooting or roots to really, really matter in a way that they should not matter. We should be taking those roots out and filling them better. And like I said, if there's people out there that are listening right now, you're not sure about Jesus, or you're not sure about God, or, think about it this way. Even if you take all that away, and you don't choose to believe, and you don't want to, or maybe you're questioning it or whatever have you, where are your roots? What are your roots coming from? What are you rooted in? Who are you rooted in? Who's tending to your roots? Are you tending to them, or are you allowing the world to tend to them? That's the question you have to ask yourself. Anytime anything ever happens, you have to say, is this true? Is this true to me? Is this true to my heart? Or is the world tending to these roots? I know it's difficult. I really had this aha moment years ago when I was doing some things, and I'm actually, this actually came back up about 8-9 months ago, to be quite honest with you. It just dawned on me. I decided to take a break from social media. I was allowing the roots of social media to dig deep into me, and it was always negative, and it was frustrating, and I felt bad for people. But then, you see people joyful one day posting something and writing something, and then the next day they're cursing and writing and just angry and upset, and I thought, man, I don't want to be fed this stuff. I don't want to read this stuff. I just don't want it. So I cut it off, and so I stayed away from it until I started to, push more towards doing On His Guard podcast. And as time went by, I started having a little bit of fear and concern that I was going to have to get back on social media to support the podcast, to promote the podcast, to try to interact with followers and people out there that I greatly care about, which is, to quite honest, it's any person that ever listens. That's who I am. I want you to be successful. I want to be rooted in a cause for you to be a better human each and every day of your life. So with that being said, I struggled, and I've been struggling because I'm back on social media, and it's very difficult because the social media stuff, as I said, it's just all over the place, and it's not always a positive avenue. Now, I strictly keep myself tuned into positivity. I don't like to see negativity, and if I see people that I care about, or friends that post things that are negative, I'll start praying for them. I try to keep that as a rule for myself in order to maintain my roots, maintain my mindset of having good cultivated roots within my body, within my mind. So I just wanted to share that little bit with you there. Let's talk about, like, what are you rooted in, like your health, or what are you rooted in your job? When things happen at work or in your day-to-day activities with your employment, what kind of roots happen to you? What kind of roots are you growing in the people? What kind of roots are being grown in you? Are you growing? Are you growing properly? Think about that for a minute, folks. I mean, work's hard. Let's be honest, unless you have, your dream job and you have no worries. And I would bet that if those people were willing, they would say they have more concern and internal issues than most people would care to talk about. And that's the real life that we're living. Most people don't want to show. They put on a facade. They hide. They hide from who they truly are. They become this blank canvas of the world. The world's painting their picture, and they're not painting their picture. And for those who believe, I say you're not painting your picture through God's eyes. You're painting the picture through the world's eyes. And that really, if you live that life it's got to be a hard life if you're allowing the world to paint your picture, and you got to understand that you have day-to-day operations where you're upset or you're frustrated or things aren't going your way or things are happening. Your stress level is very high. Truly, really all I want to say though with this episode, and really what was on my heart, I'll keep this one brief today. Rooted. Circle this back up. It's to take root, to fix firmly into something. It's related to many, many verses in the Bible if we went to the biblical side. But I'm going to keep this pretty light for you. I want you to understand that everything that you're doing in your life, it's going to have a result of roots. Either they're going to be roots that continuously grow and deep, and those are the roots that you want to be in your life. And then there's going to be other roots that are going to need to be pruned and cultivated from your life. If you're a believer, let me put it in this terms. Jesus is like a giant oak tree. Giant oak tree. Go look at a beautiful oak tree. If you actually look at it, you can say it looks like the branches of a lung inside the human body. A tree produces oxygen, so there's really a good metaphor there. Jesus is like a giant oak tree. These giant just branches and just blooms, and we are the blooms of all of this for those who believe in Jesus. And God is the gardener, and God prunes those. He prunes them as they grow, and as we get better, and as we get stronger, and our faith gets better, and our faith gets stronger, and He prunes them, and we keep growing. And if you have that relationship with God, and Jesus Christ is your Savior, and you believe that, then He helps you cut away the roots that do not matter in your life. He helps you overcome the world. And that's huge for people to understand. That's huge for anyone to understand, that your roots truly need to be rooted in Jesus Christ and in God. He's the ultimate gardener. He's going to cut away things that don't matter, that do not need to be in your life, and He's going to help you. And the more you go to Him, the less the other stuff will be able to grow. The less you go to Him, the more the other things will grow and overtake. All kinds of things, from being angry, cursing, being out of control with whatever it is you're doing in your life. Maybe you're doing things that you shouldn't be doing, and you shouldn't be doing them, but you continuously do them. But you say, oh, I can't fight it. I just need it. I need it. It makes me feel better. Well, that's the thing. That's what those roots want to do. What you're rooted in makes you feel better. It's like watching terrible TV shows that don't feed you anything, or YouTube things, or, let's be honest, watching, slipped my mind, pornography. That is a feed of your feel good. So those roots that continuously you're looking for a quick fix. Anything is looking for a quick fix. It's a quick fix to make you feel good about something that's not going right in your life, because those roots are continuously growing. But if you cultivate those roots out, I'm telling you, I promise you, your life's going to get better. It's going to get stronger. It's going to bloom. But you got to make a sacrifice. You got to be able to overcome. You got to be able to do this kind of stuff. You can't just sit here and hear my words. You got to actually act on the things that I'm trying to coach you and teach you through. So with that being said, everyone, today's show, Rooted, kept it kind of short today. Still pushing, still striving. Pray for me. I'm in some pain. Reach out again if any of you ever want to be bold enough to speak about your coaching. If you want to talk about coaching, if you want to talk about inspiring or motivating people, I encourage you to reach out. reach out to me and we'll set up a show. You can come on. I hope all of you are doing well. I hope your week is going well. I'm praying for you guys. I'm praying for each and every listener that ever tunes in, that God will fulfill things in your life, that you will be able to overcome things that are detrimental to your health, that you will be healed, that you will find financial stability, that you will just be glorified in everything that He has said you will be, and that your purpose will be served, and that you will find your purpose. I love all of you guys. I thank everybody out there that's continuously listening, and those who keep reaching out to me. Thank you a ton, man. I really do appreciate it. I think I'm getting better. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. Appreciate you guys. Until next week. I don't know what the topic's going to be. I'm kind of winging this in terms of being organic. I'm just praying about things and letting terms and words and thoughts come to me through my prayer sessions, and that's what I'm going to talk about. And I'm going to continue doing this until God says I can't do this no more. I shouldn't be doing this anymore. So with that being said, make sure you're rooted in good things. Make sure you're rooted in things that are bringing life to you and not death to you. Remember, the deeper those roots go, the harder they are to cultivate. But roots that are shallow can be gardened quickly if you're willing to make that sacrifice, if you're willing to go to God and say, hey, God, I need your help. This thing in my life is bad and I don't want it here anymore. Can you help me cultivate it out? All right, my friends, I appreciate all you guys. Until next week, see ya.